All right. For those that will watch the video that haven't seen before, but this is ALK and running for president. Tonight I'm gonna have some topic that I'm gonna talk about. I believe that they're interesting, and we just pray for those that have lost loved one for no cause, and we just have to keep prayer lifted up for the family. But tonight we know all that been taking place, all that's going on. It can be critical at a time that we believe that the United States could be a whole lot better. But tonight we're gonna try to get through this. Hopefully, I'm trying to make sure that my mic work. I believe it working. I had trouble last time, but this is all new to me with this technology, this digital, and all of that. So, but I'm getting used to it. So my main goal is to get videos out that people could see who I am and what my my ideal of being president would be. So my goal is tonight is to not just encourage everyone, but just lift everyone up that hey, we have to look at the future and begin to think something different from what we normally think and when we go to the polls and vote. We know the midterm is coming up. We believe that there can be a change there, but if we don't keep the people focused on how disaster this present administration is doing and all that they doing and what they are saying and and their action that they doesn't care for no one but themselves. But my goal tonight is to give you something of my mindset of what the changes that the United States need. Now I'm gonna go to very thing. This my ideal thing change. We always making progress, and that's the most important thing. That we have to make progress, not downgrade from where we at to something that we can identify. When we going forward, we have to be able to identify where we going. And right now, the United States don't identify where it was going. It has faulted and making this country someone that we can say, hey, we're a great country. We care about everybody else and how we handle our business. But we know with all that's going on, I'm not going to go so much in it. We can watch the news and see all that's been taking place. But I believe that, like I always say, we'll come out of it. And but how we come out of it, and that's going to be the change. Now, the most important thing I'll say at the beginning before I get into everything else, we understand both parties. You can look at Democratic, Republican. Right now, most of the people have a dislike of Republican, but Democratic, they had a dislike of Democratic about a year ago. So the thing about that, people have to understand this country runs not by just one person ideal. So when we start getting to a point of one ideal, we start getting in trouble because we are a multi country, different race, different ideology, and everything going on. But we have to make one law, which is the Constitution, which I'll talk about that a little later. One law that fix everybody mindset that they can be focused on the Constitution of the United States. Now we all can have different ideology, but the Constitution of the United States should stay the same. It should be for all people. It should be that liberty that people come here, you being born here. We should all have that liberty and that benefit of being in the United States. So let's get started. And the first topic is my goal is looking at all that has been taking place, and my goal is try to get as much money I can back into the citizen hand. All the things that the citizen is paying, the high prices, all of this, I'm gonna try my best to focus on getting them not probably won't be 100% of their loss, but at least some of their loss. We pass law that gonna benefit them in 2029 or 2020 2030. So we're looking at the first 2 years of president that giving the citizen back for what they have lost or what they have put their money into, what they have donated, who they donated to, and that's what we have to focus on, getting the citizen back some of their money. And I know most people say, how you gonna do that? It's the simpler it can be. It's well deserved that they get back some of the money they lost, even with some of the crookedness of this, this present administration. So that's one goal that I'm gonna try to focus on. As we doing other things, we can do a lot of things at the same time. But that's one of my focus on. As long as they give me my focus as well, I give them their focus. So hopefully it be the Democratic Party that's in office. But my second one is unlawfulness will have to pay a price. Lawlessness have to be dealt with. And most of them thinking that, oh, we can do all this and my last months of this previous administration that Trump gonna pardon everybody. But it's still gotta be something done to the people that was lawless when they doing everything that the Constitution says not to do, doing everything that the law ain't nobody is above anybody in a court of law. But all this that we're dealing with now, we have to set everything up, but they still gonna have to deal with what all they did and how they did it. Now with everything going on and people killing, ICE killing people and bruising people up, they all got to pay that price or deal with them. They can't hide because they did it. We have to bring them to court for they can have for justice can be brought to the people that they did the violence to, they everything they done to the citizen. It must be dealt with in the courts. Now, most of the administration, yes, they should be dealt with because if you take an oath of the Constitution of the United States, I'm gonna talk about that later. I'm just gonna glance on it. That you have to pay that what you did wrong when you know it was wrong. If you don't know it's wrong, read the Constitution. That's what you have to deal with. But now this administration is waiting for the pardon, which is 3 years later. But they got to face the consequences of all their action and everything that they done. So with that, somebody it got to be some justice somewhere. We can just not let this happen and then go down in history like, oh, when nothing done, somebody else can come right behind it and do the same thing. We have to justice have to supersede the evenness and the wrongfulness that is being taken place. Now let's go a little to the next one. And I work on the Constitution. That's one of my next third goal that I want to do. Look at the Constitution and bring it up to date. And most people say, why change the Constitution? We have to change the Constitution because there are too many loopholes in the Constitution. Now, I don't have nothing wrong with the Constitution. And they say, I have the freedom of speech. Yes, I can speak freely. I can speak out. Yeah, but you have to understand the freedom of speech. You have liberty to speak on the behalf of someone of some unit, company, uh, someone is doing you wrong. Yes, you have the freedom to speak to speak your ideology, but when you does that as well, somebody else got that right as well. So we have to look at that and make that decision that not only you have the rights, everybody else have the right as well. And I'll go deeper into that because everybody have the right to speak, but everybody don't have the right to say anything. That just because if you look at it, freedom of speech not to, harass nobody, not to downgrade nobody. Freedom of speech is when you are doing wrong and you want to speak out for something that you feel that is wrong, not because you want to just downgrade somebody or curse somebody out or all that stuff. It's not there to call people names and out their names, and that ain't freedom of speech. That's something else. That's far from freedom of speech. Because you ain't trying to help nobody. You just speaking ignorant and with your tongue. So you have to we have to make the constitution and state that you cannot say anything. You just cannot stand in the public eye, especially officials. You cannot say all that stuff that being said free in this administration. It just shouldn't be. But we look at it and hear it. But that's why it's good that we have to change the constitution. We have to bring it up to speed because when the forefather made it, it wasn't all this cursing and all of this and saying all this in public. I remember on the time that public TV wouldn't have some of the stuff that we got on TV now. It wouldn't be we wouldn't see it in the 80s, 70s, 80s. It wasn't nowhere to be found unless you watching a movie on some subscribed TV channel, but it wouldn't be. So we got to go back and look at the freedom of speech thing. I'm not trying to take nobody's freedom of speech, but we got to go back and look at it and say, hey, this excludes this sexual harassment, saying foul word in public. It includes because it no reason to be. So we have to look at all that. You know, when you're speaking it towards someone, it got to be controlled because if we don't control it, it's gonna get worse and worse. So that's what my take on it. The Constitution, we got to go in and look at it again and amend it and change the people's perspective because people read it wrong. People look at it to be wrong. So that's enough with the Constitution because the Constitution is the Constitution have I once said that the Constitution have no eyes. The Constitution have no protection other than the court system, other than the people that stand behind it. It's just a formality of how we should live. The United States should live. United States should act according to. So we have to change that because now we got more people that's is just just no law in their heart, no kindness in their heart, and so we got to change that. So let's go look at the next one. It's my next one is the United States would get matter of fact, the United States would get every penny this administration earned while they was in government or a government official. Now, why I say that, we are seeing and people talk about it that this administration have got so much money off the United States and his states that, and that's why I hate when they start saying presidential or it just something that it shouldn't take place. Well, something that it shouldn't take place, you should put in the law that you can't do it. We should put it in the Constitution stating this. We should never talk about it. It's the law. It's by voice law. It's not in black and white. But we shouldn't say that unless we put in the law. So that's what we got to cancel out because all the money that they getting out of the government and doing stuff cost the government my goal is to take everything that the United States can get back from them because they have got a whole lot of money, but yet they're not helping the citizen. They're not supporting the citizen. They're not helping prices go down. They're just trying to fill their own pocket. But when I get there, or if I get there, I would go for their pocket. I would hit them hard because it's no way that they can make all this money and do all the things that they are doing, but yet there's no consequences when they get out. And most people say, well, the president of the United States got full immunity. Well, that's good because the president, well, if I get in there, I got all immunity. I can do whatever I can, and it's nothing can be done. So that's the lovely part about that. Hey, what they gonna do? They already prove a point. So we have to look at that and go with what they use against civilization. So we got to use the same tool. If the president have full immunity, hey, the next president to get it got full immunity. Whatever he do, he can't be charged, he can't be impeached, he can't be none of that. Because that's the fight. So I hope the Democrat, yes, they might try to impeach Donald President Trump, but I tell them not to. Don't do it. Don't do it because it's gonna help the next president when he get in office. Because yes, I will pass laws and get laws that he can't do some of the stuff that he's doing, but I let him stay in office a full term. I won't even try to impeach because if you do the impeach, they give them an excuse to do to the next president. That, oh, we think he's not. Well, hopefully, Democrats have control in 28. Sincerely, but it keep things additive is a if the president have immunity on everything he do while he in his official capacity, yes, let it stay like that. But me, my idea, I wouldn't impeach. I let him ride out because you need all the evidence you can get at the end of this. Matter of fact, the last year that we understand, I would start open cases up. Then all the people fighting against open case up, start fighting for the United States because only way the United States gonna defend itself is somebody take them to court on the behalf of the United States or the United States Constitution. That's it. Start open up cases before they even get into it, and before they even get out, start open cases. Then when they get out, they have to go the cases because we always say federal and state court is different. If the state court start open up cases before they get out, they got to go to court. So that's my thought about that. But let's go a little for my fourth one. It's a United States Constitution. Well, I talked some about that when I was talking about the Constitution of the United States. It can't defend itself, but yet it don't have no eyes. It just feral. If you say, well, the freedom or the right to bear arms, that's fair. United States, if somebody go against that, it can't defend itself. But we can defend the Constitution of the United States. So we can do that. But it has no eyes. It can't defend itself. So we have to make sure that people understand when you fail to abide by the Constitution of the United States, there's consequence, and we have to have that consequence. Regardless if you have immunity, we still have to take these people to court, to the court system, to the justice, and then we see the outcome of it, and that's what we have to do. We have to do it. We got to take somehow the money that they have stolen from the United States, all the things that they have done. We seem like it took this country from back to I would say 19 in the 1960s. I won't go bite further than that with civil rights, but it's just like the right to live peacefully or the right to live with liberty. And when I say that, I mean that even though it was a civil right back then, but now it's the right to have liberty. And now this administration is taking every liberty that a person have, can't protest, can't speak nothing against the administration, can't say nothing about them. It just it's just very critical. And like I say, I think for the courts standing up, but it's still complicated because they ain't we ain't abide by the court system. But then we play with them and let them buy with the thing that they do. You cannot tell me if an average person go against the court system with a subpoena or whatever it is, they will be in jail, caught whenever they caught in bars, shackled up. And I think that would need to take place. Next time they arrest anybody, they need to shack them up because they'll shack everybody else up. So that's my take on that. The Constitution got to be defended because that's what we live by. And I feel that it's strong, but it have to have a great defense because we have learned in this last year that the Constitution have some loopholes. And I'm not saying that it's the Constitution was wrong or miswritten. It was written for the year that this country was young and this country was respectful. This country was wanted to treat everybody with discipline or with some type of kindness. And most people say, well, slavery was back then. Yes, but after we weed out all of that and where we at now, we have the liberty. But now it's still not fair for as being African American. It's still not fair. We still got to fix some stuff. And that's where the Constitution come in at. We cannot let the people, the let's say lawless people get by with the thing that they're doing. And most people about saying that, well, he trying to get back at them. No, we are under the Constitution of the United States. We have to defend it. If I was to go against one of the Constitution of the United States, I deserve to be tried. Get tried fairly. If I'm found guilty, yeah, so be it. But we just have to let them face the consequence of their doing. We could not let them get by. Other words. So let's go to my last point, and if we go into some other stuff, but I just want to get my point view on some of the stuff that's going on, and let everyone know how I feel about some of the stuff. Now, decision making is very critical. I stayed in the Army for 20 years and some months. But the most important thing that when we done wrong or did wrong, we was either court martial or we had UMCJ action against us. It wasn't no, going around it or it would no, you did this one time, okay, I'm gonna give you a slap on the wrist. Sometimes that happened depending on who you are, but we were still judged. We still had to pay the penalty of doing doing wrong. We got a counsel, and after that counsel, that all that evidence builds up, and then when you found guilty, you just have to suffer the consequence. But we still have to do that outside the military. But also, I think that the military is hanging in now. I got confidence they'll stand. But most important thing is just the Secretary of Defense. I don't know why and how he choose him, but to me, it's a disgrace because I did 20 years and some months, and it's a disgrace to me to have a defense secretary. And this is how I know it's so important. When I went to the army, the secretary of defense, we knew who he was, but he wasn't like out there in the public, like doing stuff like this one did. This so ignorant stuff, just stuff that is simple. When we have information that was top security, we had this place that we did go to and hang out and did it, but we never take nothing out of it. We couldn't even bring our phone inside of it. Rather leave that out. We couldn't jot notes down. So that's how it was. So it's the same way. It still be done accordingly because if he part of the military, Secretary of Defense is part of the military as Mister, but he still should be judged or should still be disciplined according to the military law. So we have to look at that. Everything should be done military. If a Secretary of Defense do crazy stuff, he should be according to the regulation of the army. He should be judged according to that. That's the way it should be. But this one is just does the way we want to. But that's gonna change too. We just have to wait and have that patience. So it just waiting. Nothing really can change as a Democratic. Hopefully they take the House and the Senate. It will help this country out a lot. Surely it will help. We can deal with blocking all that Trump tried to do and whatever he tries to do. But I believe that it's gonna be a hard road for the Senate because I don't think the Republican voter is done yet, and that's the hard part. I don't. It's just the red states. Now I can start talking about Alabama, which I live in Alabama. I don't think Alabama will vote strongly for Democrats. I honestly don't believe it, and I live here. It's going to take a. I just say it's going to have to take an act of something major happen to Alabama, because I run for governor, and my goal was to reach as many people I could. I started like 2 months before the primary, which was a bad decision. I say a bad decision, but a good decision because I learned some stuff before I got to this point of trying to run for uh, office of the president. And you say, what do I know? Can I do better? Or, uh, how I'm gonna run everything? Well, them questions shouldn't even be asked of me because this present administration, who can get in the worst? Now that's the key. Who can do worse than that? And then and I'm not putting nobody down, talking bad about it. Everybody can see that those that in office, they run for president or running a candidate for president. They can see all their work and what they do and what they stand for already. It's no mistake. But we know that Republican Party, if voters still vote Republican, we got some serious thing going on in the United States. And like I always say, I tell people this when I talk to them, that 65% of this United States is based off religion. If it be based off religion, we are in bad shape. Now watch this. For the religion foundation of for being a Christian, if we voted this into office for better, then we messed up. And that's something that we have to think about. We have to talk about it amongst Christians. It's not. And then we can look at Biden, and most people say Biden did this, and this administration did this. Then judge rightfully when it comes down to what this administration is doing. This administration has taught worse. I mean that they have taught. I don't think no other administration would come in would be this bad. Either we could look at, but I thought Biden was doing a great job for all that he had to work with. He didn't have the full debt. He didn't have the Supreme Court on his side. He didn't have the Senate on his side. At one time he had the Democrat, but yet midterm the Democrat lost their seats, so they the minority. So he didn't have all that. How good you gonna get if you don't have the full debt or the full house, Senate, Congress, and judicial branch? So how he gonna do? Well, I think he did good compared to what he had to work with. So I think he nothing that was on him, but people don't see that when they just doing because Republican is just cruel. I learned the last two cycle of president doing from starting. I would start to from Obama. From that point on, Republican just went south, and I voted for a Republican president. Not that I was a Republican, but I voted. I voted for the candidate can be when they say things that is just and right for the citizen. That's who I mostly focus on. But we can't count this out yet, but we surely can count the Republican Party out because whatever got a hold of them, it's just they understand that it's no turning back. I would say that they understand that, and I wish they could just move out the way and just let someone else that's is for the country get their office so we can go forward and we can stop all this crazy and ignorant stuff. It just when you got an administration, we this is so bad that every day something crazy happen. It ain't missed a day yet. Every day, and we know that is just some craziness. The previous administration, we didn't have all this. The weekend was so quiet, and that's why they used to call Biden Sleepy Joe because it would know if you ain't got to be in no action, don't do nothing. Don't create craziness, chaotic stuff. If ain't nothing going on, ain't nothing going on. So that just me. That this is a craziness. But like I say, we have to get to the point that say hopefully the Democratic win the midterm and say President Trump it got to stop. If we have to ban everything operation and ICE need to be disassembled and put back together because we have to look at all these people that's there now. The craziest thing about it just they have no law and order on their side. They just doing whatever they want. If you can shoot, I don't care if the guy just terrible bad or just wrong. If you got phones recording you, you got everybody feeling you and you, but yet you still kill somebody. It's just like the most horrible thing that a person can see. And when you got cameras on you and somebody's filming you, and you still take a person's life with no regardless of the cameras on you or whatsoever, you just doesn't care. That's a person that need to be behind bars. At least if you see the camera on, you will act according to now these cameras on me. I gotta act with somebody, something of some way with some respect or with some decency. But it just like they have no accountability. And then now they fired the person that's over them. That just, you know why they fired? I believe why they fired them because he didn't want all of that to take place. And I believe that behind closed door, I might be wrong whatsoever. He was fighting against it because they could have fired the one that did the shooting, but yet they still working. Now they might fire them. I don't know. First, I know they still employed, but yet they'll fire the person that's over the person that did the wrong. He got to take order. Either he got to take order from somebody versus the person that did the shooting taking orders. It just get complicated when you look at it and just start thinking about it. Somebody telling somebody to do something. I don't think they acting on their own because that's some crazy stuff. Even in the military, we had a you say in the military before I get offline. The military that when we deployed, the Geneva Convention saying that if we shoot somebody and we pass by them, we just can't go back and turn around and double tap them. If we get in the room and we don't did everything that we could do and that person's still alive, we have to, as quote the Geneva Convention, have to do him medical service, and we have to take care, even though he just got done shooting at us, and we still have to patch him up, fix him up, and try to run an aid to him. Also, when we was deployed, you could be just have got in a firefight. That same person that you know seemed like for sure they were shooting at you. But if he come with no arms, you cannot shoot him. And you know for sure that that person was shooting at you or that person shot you up or however it went down. But yet we cannot shoot them. That just they're just amazing. But then we see all this stuff now in the United States happen that it shouldn't be happening. It happened in them third world country and the country that ain't got no law. They just lawless, run around, do what they want. But we are better than where we at now. We're a whole lot better than where we at now. And we got to make a major change. And it hurts even when this administration attacked NATO and attacked all our allies. And that's the part that hurt because in my 20 years, we have built a just to help us, and they trust us. And I know when we start looking at money, it's not the issue of building trust with people. I have talked to foreign people, some that with translators, and but it just they just had the confidence of we was there to help them. And it seemed like we just throwing all of that away with this present administration. And I hope the NATO, I hope our allies just just hold on to the 4 years ago, and hopefully, if I make it, that we'll have a better relationship. And it's good to make law. It's good to have peace treaty with your allies. That when the next administration come in, they can't touch it. They have to do exactly what the treaties say and go forward. But just like I say, back to the Republican Party, I think all of them don't lost their mind, and it's hard to look at them to what they do and how they do it. They are so quiet, and then the House Speaker, I'm not going to say it, but I will say, Ben, when you claim that you're a Christian, yes, we can make some bad decision, but we have the ability enough to say I'm sorry or ask for forgiveness for that decision. These Republicans saying that they're Christian, not all of them, just the one that say they Christian, and when they want to say they Christian or use the Bible according to when they want to get their point across, and then taking an oath on the Bible. That's messy right there because you taking an oath on the Bible, which means I'm really highly favor. I love God and love Jesus and love the Holy Spirit. And I'm saying this on the Christian side. We got to look at ourselves and look at the person that's saying they're like me, just talking to me. If they say they're Christian, they supposed to be close to who I am. And they should have a better relationship to who I am. And then if that not taking place, especially when you know who you are and you sure you know who you are, you sure that you know God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. You sure about it. And half of the stuff you want to deal with. Now you might make some decision, you might make some call that is tough just to help something out and then you straighten it out later. But when you just have no more mindset and you just get up there, see it with your own eyes and you looks at it and say, man, that just was not right. But then in the public, you are agreeing with it and it just morally wrong. And that's what I believe that sometimes we have to look deeper within ourselves for the Republican. I'm not saying the Democrat on a high horse or put them super high. We all have our issues, but we just have to look at when you say those words. And I say this because they say these words, but yet their action is totally different from what they say who they are. And that's what we have to get back to the foundation. If the forefather was putting this and God we trust on the money, so there had to be some type of belief system when they was making these the Constitution of the United States. So they had a backup that they believe God that every man should be treated fair, which some of them didn't believe that because slaves still exist. But yet they had a moral in them to make laws that helps people that they won't be abused or done wrong, according to the Constitution of the United States. It taught some people get in office that have some type of moral value or knew who God was or had the trust that decision that they make gonna benefit somebody else. And that's all I'm saying because it's who I am. And when you say that you supposed to be like me or part of me, because we all a part of each other. And I always tell them 65% of this country state that they are some type of religion. Now, that might not be Christian, but we should never look at this country and we say we're doing good, that we cannot justify the action that what is taking place right now. And we can speak out and say, this is morally wrong. If you can't say that and you say that you is the foundation and you the Christian, now I'm not going to say my thought, but just to say in a polite way, you have to rethink your thought process and you have to start readjusting, realigning your thinking because by now all the people that say they're Christian, because they honestly they speak out too, and they ain't changed, and they know all this is just crooked, not even near straight. We're gonna take some a while to get this straight, and that's the hard part. and then they're gonna come out with a more value about, oh, this is scriptures, and then now they get here to this point and say, oh, I'm not gonna speak against this. But then they speak against everything that the Biden administration did, what they let happen, which is some of the stuff I don't feel that was right, but it happened. But we have the ability to change all of that, what we represent, what we stand for. But I I, I just want to say all that. I know I went a little off the chart a little bit. I would start out talking about 16s, and I went somewhere because it need to be said, because only way you gonna know who I am and build that trust that, oh, he might be the candidate, is I speak my piece and speak how I feel. Because I served this country for 20 years. I don't think that I'm less than any other candidate that will put their name in the ballot, and I don't think I'm more than them. I just believe that my more value and my compass can point in the right direction. I can point in the right direction, and I don't believe that all the money, big money, and all of that, it mean anything to me. Because my background, I grew up in a single family. My mom, she raised us the best she could. We didn't have everything, but she gave us the love that we needed to get by those things. That we didn't have everything that we wanted, but we got some things, some years that we asked for. But it's growing up. It teaches that we don't have to have all the things that we see in this world, because it's nothing but issues, problems, debt. That's all it brings. And somebody else probably can get rich that we could have been content with what we had, and they're trying to get all this stuff. But enough for the night. I stay alone than what I normally do. But I'm gonna close out. I thank everybody that watched this video. Just a reminder, if you want more information, just email me, and I'll post my email on some of the videos. But my email address, if I can say it correctly, because it's so got so many numbers in it, is ALK202224 at gmail.com. And then if you want to donate and help out with my campaign, my cash out is ALK 2932. So that's some of the ways that you can help me. If you want to give me a interview, I love that as well. It's not all about the money. I think if I have a multitude of interviews, a multitude on sites, I take that, because it's really save a lot of money in campaigning. I don't have to have the big money. Just have to have that break. Being unknown. I'm not in politics other than running for governor. Like I said, 2022. It was very interesting them 2 months. Had debate, but we learn from it and we deal with it. So I learned doing the government. That's my training ground. I learned how to speak in public. I used to didn't like speaking in public, but after that month of speaking, I had the speech, I had it on paper, but it just more I did it, the more I was comfortable doing it. I'm not a too much an out front person, but during that campaign, my last month before the primary, I was doing it. I think I did pretty good compared to the 2 months I jumped in the race, and I felt confidence that I knew that I wasn't gonna pull a win off, but what I knew that I gave it my best them 2 months. And I say if I would have started in 2021, I think I would have been a greater candidate and probably did more damage than them 2 months I did because I just showed up at Republicans, campaign Republican. They asked me to come. I went and spoke. I asked them to speak, and that's why I know some Republicans got some heart. And I asked some of them. They let me come speak and explain who I was and ask questions. I said, okay, I'll do it. But back in my head, Republican, they gonna vote Republican. They strong. Unless you run into those independent, just say I'm going for the best one for me. But Alabama is a strange place. It just sometimes they show hard, but then sometimes you know what people say about Alabama. But I love it. I went traded. I haven't been to most of every state, and I think I always well I know I did. I came back to Alabama, but I enjoyed when I was away. But Alabama, they said Alabama is beautiful, so we have to look at it. Sightseeing is beautiful, but we have to change our more value as well. You know, but I think if you watch this video, just keep watching me, see some of my ideals. I don't try to be on here just to be on here. I just come and do my little talking and get off. I'm not trying to get a whole lot of views. That's not my goal. My video is personal, just to see who I am and what I'm about and my thought process. All right, to next Monday, just look for me. If I come on before Monday, it probably something major happened. I had an idea, but I always try to be on Monday between 9 and 10. And I know some of them be on East Coast or on the other side West, so it's a little time different. But overall, just think about it, think change. Just remember, you won't change. You got to vote change. If you want to see something different, sometimes you have to see something different and a person that you have no idea. But I say, just think about it, look at it, pray about it. I have to put that in now since I'm a Christian. I have to say pray about it. But just hold on. I know we're in a time crunch, and we got through 1 year, and hopefully we just stay strong. Don't panic yet. It ain't over with yet, but stay stay blessed and just look forward for a good day tomorrow. Hopefully. All right, have a good night, and I'll see you next Monday.